Garneth is going to pay. By the way, some of those artworks I just showed, most of them were CGs or cutscene graphics from the game itself, but the three that you probably are familiar with, they're actually artworks of Hardin's sort of life story, really, that I actually found over on the Fire Emblem Wiki, and it seems I actually can't really find out where they're from. They seem like they would be graphics that they seem to fit, well, the graphical style of the rest of the game, so it seems like they are things that you could see being in this game, but actually weren't. My guess is they're from some Fire Emblem background site, or some official website, or something like that, or one of the art books, I don't know. But anyway, they looked appropriate, so I felt I had to show them somewhere. In other news, it seems that I may have finally discovered how to crop videos to only show the top screen. So, that might lead to something interesting a bit later. But, for the time being, welcome back to New Mystery of the Emblem, Heroes of Light and Shadow, and let's start the part of the game that you can only access with the Binding Shield. Firstly, it's time for Chapter 20X, Depth of the Abyss, which is weird. I think it should be Depths, plural, of the Abyss, but anyway. Once again, obviously, this scene here with Katarina, of course, changes if you didn't recruit her or she died or something. But anyway, Katarina now provides an explanation as to why the enemies can see in the fog of war. Yes, they're all brought up in total darkness, which is why they're accustomed to it and thus can see in the dark when you can't. So, yeah, basically, and character development for Katarina. Well, at least she gets to be marginally more important than a lot of the other characters in the fact that she, you know, gets to actually appear in the story outside of the chapter you recruit her. Not many Fire Emblem characters actually have that honor, so usually outside of support, the characters just disappear from the story forever. I guess, of course, again, so that if they die, it doesn't affect anything in the plot. Yeah, anyone really significant will just retreat. That's, yeah, presumably why that exists, except that didn't stop Rebecca in Fire Emblem 7 from actually dying, despite that creating a gigantic plot hole for Fire Emblem 6. But now is not my place to discuss that. Let's check out how's everyone. And hey, Maris, well, I can't fault her for showing up here because she looks awesome. Skill potion, interesting. Draug, haven't seen you for a while. 24 experience. Wolf. Right after hard. Oh, another joke weapon. And more talking like a pirate. Oh, right, this line again. Unfortunately, I'm not using him in the coming battle or the next one. Or the one after that, for that matter. Now, once again, you only get 7 units for this side quest. Again, the side quests always have really low deployment counters. In fact, the last one, so, yeah. But I want to bring Katarina to this one, just because it feels, you know, characterful to have her here, and really, you know, story-wise, she really should be here. Fortunately though, since she comes with an auto C rank in Starves, she doesn't have to sit out this chapter being totally useless. She can actually make herself useful and start and be my healer for this chapter. So, I guess, yeah, that's a good thing she has going for her. Right now, for some reason, I kind of wanted to take out a new sword from Mark. I actually kind of wanted that Brave Sword. Maybe get that second one, that last rapier. And you know what, they want to use Ogma's Blade at this point, because if I don't use it now, we'll eventually get into the point where we'll start starting to need legendary weapons, and then Ogma's Blade will be really obsolete. But, yeah, so speaking of that, I'm going to give Ogma's Blade to, of course, who else? And again, really curious, because I don't want to waste it here. Elrond will not be participating in this chapter, I think, because I think one main is probably enough. Right then. But I think it's about time he used Excalibur. I find this really, really weird in the story thing, because he was specifically passed over to inherit Excalibur, but in this game you actually can have him use it finally getting to a B in tomes. And once again, like I've said, B is really the highest you need, because technically speaking there is an A rank tome, but you can't get it. And well, since I don't really need to worry about spoilers for this one, I can probably say that A rank tome is in fact Garneth's Improve, the tome that makes him invincible. I really wonder why they didn't just go ahead and make it Garnet only, rather than actually making it an A-ranked tome, because really the only thing making it A-ranked, does is, let it be used by any character, provided that you hack it into the game. So, like, as in, if you hack in Hulu into your team, anyone with an A in tomes can use it, which I think is really stupid, because then, Wi-Fi gets dominated by hackers who just, spam that. Presumably they can hack the Dark Sphere too, so, yes, Wi-Fi sounds particularly fun, quote-unquote, in this game. Yeah, that's probably one of the reasons I don't play Wi-Fi much. Oh, and if I did, I would probably want to do it in just pre-arranged matches. Yeah, because, yeah, I don't like that kind of thing. There's no ranking system on Wi-Fi. And anyway, I thought I may as well use some of the arm scrolls now. I mean, better now than, never. So, yeah, I was wondering whether to use it on Sheeta here or Katri. I previously, did just use one on Fast to get into a C with bows. That means you can use killer bows now, which is really nice. But, with a C and X's, actually, in fact, I'll need to give her an X, because, if she doesn't have an X equipped, then she won't be able to, raise her axe rank with an arm scroll. Also, speaking of, raising your axe rank, I'm pretty sure that, should we quit that? I'm pretty sure that Devil Axes don't raise your axe rank, quickly like they do in other games in the series. So, don't, go using those thinking that, at least they have some use to them. Just don't. You will die. But anyway, now that her axe rank is C, she can now use killer axes, which I actually don't have very many of, and also the effectiveness axes, so like pole axe and hammer. Hammer's going to be a bit less useful because, from here on, in fact both of them are going to be a bit less useful, because from here on out, you don't see very many paladins or generals. In fact, I believe there are a couple of generals in this chapter. That's probably all there is throughout the entire rest of the game. You'll see why once we get to the real final series of chapters, but basically, the only human opponents we'll be seeing from now on are generally just berserkers, swordmasters, or sorcerers. In fact, I don't think, I'll just go out on a limb and say, I am pretty sure that we won't ever be seeing any paladins again, in the whole game. Which is kind of good, because those reinforcement paladins in the last chapter were nasty. And if you're playing Lunatic mode, you'll probably have, an express disorder from all those paladins you see there. Making sure to give Katarina some stars, just to make sure. She can use physics, but yeah, has a lot of uses. But anyway. Also, the Thief Staff. You'll want to bring this one here, unless you want to bring a Thief or Fancy Mark running around in the darkness trying to get some chests. There are only 2 chests here, but they contain some pretty good items, and if you're using either one of the really, good mages, I'm just using the merge command here to give my physics stars a bit more uses. If you're using either one of the 2 really good mages, that would be Merrick and Linda, you're going to want to get these chests here. Just saying something, just putting that out there. So yes, the Thief Staff helps with that, yeah, it's got exactly 2 uses left. I believe there is only 1 in the game, but you can use the Hammer and Staff on it if you're so inclined. Now, I think I need to reclass Mary Sue to something else. I think she should be... You know what, considering that there are a lot of Berserkers in this chapter, I think she should maybe go back to Swordmaster. I was tossing up making her an Archer for a bit, but, yeah, I decided not to in the end. You'll see why I was tossing up Archer when we get to the chapter itself. It has a kind of an interesting gimmick to it. And, whoa, those are a lot of max stats. But she hasn't quite max speed as a Swordmaster, but of course she does have 20 defense, which is crazy by Swordmaster standards. Really crazy. So, yeah, Mary Sue is officially broken. Now, we probably don't need to shuffle around the units at all, and you'll notice here that, yes, this is another Fog of War map. Yep, so you got 2 Fog of War maps during the actual main game, not just in on Wi-Fi, which is pretty cool. Now I think it's time to save and begin. Yes, let's go. And as you can see immediately here, in this chapter we'll be up against Eremia, the leader of the assassins, and the one who put Katarina through so much hell as a child. Well, we've got to make her pay for that. And she's still going on about puppets and stuff like that. Now, I'm wondering if... yes, in fact, this conversation here, subtly changes if you brought Katarina to this chapter, and yeah, provided she's still alive. So yeah, oh, that pure terror line also shows up in the assassin in this side quest where you get to control the assassins. So anyway, we're kind of fumbling around blindly in the dark here, so let's scout ahead for a bit, and this is why I brought so many sword masters. We have berserkers here, lots of berserkers. Fortunately, I mean, as high hit rate as silver axes do have, they're, yeah, not good at hitting sword masters. And provided your luck is high enough, they won't really have much of a chance of critting you. So, they're, again, easy prey for sword masters, really. But they're not really the main threat of this chapter. This chapter's kind of weird in that its gimmick is you've got a lot of enemies sniping at you from long range from where you can't see them. Also, so basically, let me just say this, be very, very careful around the walls. You want to stay as far away from the walls as possible, and stay more into the center of the rooms if you can. I really shouldn't have brought Sheeta, and you'll see why on the enemy phase. But anyway, let's move Katarina over there. Be very, and yep, now you'll see why. Longbows. Yep, and you can kind of tell from the direction if you look at the bottom screen, look at the direction your character's map sprite is facing when the enemy attacks them. That's the direction the longbow is coming from, so bear that in mind, because in this fog, it's a good idea to check that, just so you know where the longbow is. Now, we lost that guy previously, but now he's back. So, yes, the gimmick of this chapter is, you've got a lot of enemies with longbows, and they will all be sniping at you from, where you hopefully can't hit them. However, if you lure them to the very edges of the room, you will be able to attack them with a long-range character. And you'll see me do that in a little bit. So basically, if you want to lure them into a place where you can hit them, make sure you have someone stand exactly 3 spaces away from the wall. Because yes, of course, longbows are 3-range bows, in case you're wondering. This is in fact the first time you'll be seeing them, and if you're wondering whether you'll get one for yourself, well, you're about to find out. Fortunately, the one sniper who there's a general, like I was saying, there are a couple of generals in this one. Now, you don't want to stay there, because that's where they can get you from not in your range. You also want to make sure that Katarina is nice and safe in the middle of the room, and not near the walls. You want to know why? Well, okay, we'll just wait for the turn to end. Also, make sure your flyers have IoT shields if you do bring them. Because otherwise, now you'll notice that attack came from below, so he's right down there at the bottom. That attack there came from the side, as you can see by the direction Marth is facing, so I think I can pretty much figure out where he is. Unfortunately, the walls there are double thick, so I won't be able to actually shoot him across the wall. At least the walls from Marth's position are double thick. The walls at the bottom are still only, I believe, single space thick. So, in fact, yeah. Now again, you want to keep Katarina safe there, because otherwise, well, you'll find out on the Fail Channel! A somewhat short edition of the Fail Channel this time, but I thought I had to show this off. So you want to know what happens if you expose your weak and vulnerable characters to the longbow snipers? Well, yeah. This is me about to find out that putting Katarina right next to that wall is not going to end well. Yeah, I was having my reservations here, but I was an idiot and did it anyway. And, well, I paid the price. Or should I say, Katarina paid the price. Painfully. Because come the enemy phase, this happened. Ow. Oh crap. And crit. That, my friends, is why you don't put your vulnerable characters next to the walls. This has been, once again, the Fail Channel. I can't believe I forgot that outro for so long. Anyway, by putting Mary Sue there, see that space right below the wall, directly below her, that one single space illuminated in the fog? Yeah, that's the only place where the sniper will be able to attack her. So, I can lure him there and finish him off with a long-range character. I actually really should have brought Ryan to this map. I have no idea why I didn't. But, anyway. I also should not have brought Sheeta. So basically, if I was doing this differently, I would have brought Ryan, dropped Sheeta. Yeah, if you've got high evasion, these longbows aren't really that much of a threat, although, ow, ooh, that was a good thing Marth dodged that one. And good thing no more enemies came out of there. Now, the sniper should be right there, but, my vision has receded, so I can't actually see him. Yeah, the way vision works in this game is kind of weird. Whenever a character moves in... Damn it, I can't see him either. Whenever a character moves in Fog of War... There you are. And I will take your left sword, because I have better magic and can actually... Wow, actually 2-hit KO something with it? That's pretty amazing. Only just, but still... Well, I'm experienced, but anyway. Yeah, the way fog works in this game is when a character moves, they illuminate every square to within 2 spaces of the path they move down. But, starting with the enemy phase, those spaces immediately disappear from your vision. So, it's kind of just a temporary thing, and it's kind of interesting, but yeah, maybe it makes up for the fact that you can't actually really increase your vision very much in this game. That wall is double thick, isn't it? Yes, it is. It's still double thick even from below, so I'm going to have to wait quite a while before I can get that guy. The wall over there, though, is in fact single thick. I just realized I just pointed, despite the fact that, oh crap, this could be really bad. Phew, only 16, not 17. Yeah, that guy's coming from right across that wall. If I can see that guy, I probably will be able to hit him. Another longbow, and again that wall is double thick, so I can't get rid of him, and, whoa, that was a close call with Katarina. Oh, and you might notice there, that longbow there is droppable. Fortunately, the one droppable longbow is carried by, the one sniper who is directly in your path. Then you don't have to resort to any kind of crazy luring tactics to get this guy. You will always probably kill him in order to finish the chapter, and we get a longbow. Now, one thing you probably ought to know about longbows is they can only be used by archers and snipers, so hunters and horsemen, or any other bow-mounted class like generals, warriors, yeah, they can't use longbows. So that's one of the benefits to using Ryan or Norn or another sniper. Really, Ryan and Norn are the ones you want to go with if you want a sniper. So yeah, I believe that's actually been the case in a lot of other games too. So I think in Path of Radiance, I remember being really surprised when I was using Astrid on my runs and she couldn't use the longbow, and I was like, what? Why can't you use this? And I was like, oh right, archers and snipers only. Well, foot archers only, technically. Anyway, then again, hunters are foot archers and they can't use it. Anyway, now that we've got rid of most of the longbows, we really only have to deal with one. We still have to be very, very, very careful though, because we're about to enter the danger zone. Why is it called the Danger Zone, and what exactly is the Danger Zone? Well, you'll find out. Yeah, again, we need to be very careful where we position ourselves here. Because, well, I'll just say this. You know how the theme of this map is basically enemies sniping you from where you can't see them? The boss also follows this theme. Yes, Aramia is equipped with a Meteor Tome, and if you're not careful, yeah, she can do some serious damage with that. Meteor is pretty painful, and it's a little bit harder to dodge than Swarm. But what you really want to watch out for is her meteoring someone and then one of her henchmen finishing them off, which happens surprisingly often. If you do go into Aramia's range, of course 10 spaces away from the throws, obviously she doesn't move, you want to make sure you've got high evasion, so yeah. You also want to make sure you can take her down as fast as possible so that you don't have any, annoying incidents involving her weakening someone and then finishing them off. Wow, this video is actually getting close to getting towards the end, so I guess I should take this time to talk about the music in the side quest, which I actually haven't so far. Now, yeah, the music in the side quest is, oh, well, I'm about to get hit by her, aren't I? Also, speaking of music, this is the last time you'll hear Tearing Shadows, so enjoy it while you still can, because again, the last time you'll hear this amazing boss theme, and yeah, Meteor hurts. Yeah, that is painful. And yeah, more generals, and you really, really don't want to, nice crit there. You really, really, really don't want to, yeah, have someone get meteored and then get hit by the general. So I'm glad Martha's a little bit further back. Anyway, music in the side. Oh crap! Well, good thing she got high evasion. Anyway, music in the side quests. Oh, yeah, that could have ended very, very badly. But wow, that's not that much might actually. If you're only doing that much to Sheena, who's supposed to be really frail. But anyway, like I was saying, music in the side quests, they use the same themes as you heard in the prologue. The first few side quests, well, actually, the ones up to the one with all the Roros, that is chapter 10X, I believe, use a theme known as One Who Carves a New History. It's the one that played in chapter 5 of the prologue, and it can be pretty much considered my unit's theme, really. You can hear that elements of that theme repeated in the opening movie, so go back and watch that if you want. Also, then, the next ones after that, the one with Krynet, used the Fog of War theme that's actually played on Wi-Fi back in Shadow Dragon. This is the first time that music has appeared in the main story. Now, those of you who know the series will actually, well, at least I found here. Anyway, those of you who are well versed in the series will know that it's a remix of the Fog of War theme from Fire Emblem 5, Brachia 776. It's a little bit different though in some respects. I'll cover that when I get to my series on the MP4 universe with the musical illusions. I'll get back to that when I next have the time, presumably after I finish this whole playthrough, which actually won't be very long. But anyway, so that uses that theme, and this one, and the one with Katarina use Endless Battle, the theme for Chapter 8 of the prologue, and generally the theme for any situation involving Katarina, really. In this case, yeah, Katarina has a real personal vendetta against his boss, so, yeah. Speaking of which, she does indeed have a special conversation against Aramia, and I'll show that off a little bit later. But, anyway, like I was saying, Endless Battle is basically a dark reprise of One Who Carves a New History. You can hear, yeah, the same refrain comes in a few points. It's quite a dark and sort of haunting theme, and it does really fit the situations where, you know, Katarina betrays you and where she's all conflicted and stuff like that. Yeah. Speaking of which, Katarina's title in the Awakening DLC, something translated as, what, Confused Tactician or Lost Tactician? I'm wondering if Conflicted Tactician would be a better translation. I think that seems to actually make sense more. Anyway, there is a bunch of enemies over this side. There's still quite a few, actually, including a general, so I didn't actually really realise that. So I ran into a few problems. Oh, thank goodness for physics styles being infinite range in this game. Otherwise, we would have to move Katarina with the rest of us, and she tends to get double. But, anyway then, you might have noticed that in the chest there, I got, well, I think I'm about to reveal the location of the boss. There she is. Now, Aramia has pretty decent stats by the standards at this point in the game, but she suffers from one very, very serious problem. She has Meteor equipped. While she's got Meteor equipped, she obviously can't counterattack. Yeah, I think the intelligence system should have realised that long-range tome bosses, well, yeah, there are problems with them. Always problems. Because, yeah, they can't counterattack at close range. You will have seen a few of them in FE4. The ones that were the most annoying was that one in FE4 who had a prayer sword, and that gave them really high evasion. So basically, yeah, long-range mages and bosses generally not that good unless they either are smart enough to unequip their long-range tomes, and annoying, and given that, of course, Aramia's Meteor has in fact 33 uses, she's not going to run out of it anytime soon, so she's probably going to be stuck without a melee counterattack for a long, long time. So she gets rendered as a pretty easy boss, which is kind of disappointing. Now, finally, he's max speed. And it should be time to take her down soon, and oh, I can't double, damn it. Well, I guess I can double with the quick lance, but that may not be enough to kill, so, come on, critical, oh. Oh well, she'll survive a longbow shot anyway. And I think it may be about time to take down Aramia, long last. Now let's let Mary Sue do the honour, shall we? This is for Katarina! Yep, goodbye and good riddance. The assassins are finally leaderless, and they will not trouble us anymore. But we still have one more chest to get, I think we'll have Katarina do the honors when the time comes. You know, speaking of Katarina, she does, as, you would probably guess, have a special boss quote with Aramia, and I'll show it now. Yeah, creepy. Anyway, that at least gave me an excuse to show off what I can do now with video coughing. Again, I might use that for something a little special a bit later. Now that I can do that, yeah, well, I'll actually talk about that in a couple of chapters. Marth will need one more turn to get to the throne anyway, so let's just finish off this last fight here. Hope there are no more enemies behind that darkness. There probably aren't, because if they were, they would have rushed me by now. And, well, I guess those are really the two stats that she can only gain at this point, so... Right, now make sure, of course, that the chest is visible to you, because if the chest is still hidden by fog, you can't use, the thief stuff on it. Funnily enough, that chest there containing an aura tome, Katarina can in fact use that, because she's got a B in tomes and she's female, so yeah, that's kind of weird, but yeah, she can use that. So yes, the chest here contains an Excalibur and an aura tome, just like, the chest in the final side quest in Shadow Dragon, so kind of fitting that. And at last, the battle is over. The assassins are defeated permanently. Aramia will trouble us no more, and Katarina is free to live a normal life. And with that, the assassin subplot is over. Or is it? We've got a bit of backstory here. So apparently, Aramia used to be a kind bishop who looked after war orphans. The orphanage was burned down and all the children died. I think I've seen that plotline used in another game. I don't think anyone's going to get it, so I'll just say, a character in Psychonauts has a very similar backstory, so I actually find that kind of interesting. Of course, the two games could not be more different, but anyway. But some more significant backstory comes up now. Because you see, yes, of course now, it's obvious by now the assassins were working for Garneth. Aramia seems to be still slightly clinging to life. Now she's the one asking for apologies for failing to fulfill her orders. But yes, it turns out that they were actually the ones who helped capture the clerics. And I noticed that you'd often get a side quest right after an area one of the clerics would have been. The first side quest comes after where Lena was living. And you get one right after Marth's castle where Ellis would have been. Anyway, now you'll see something interesting here. Garneth is talking about, yeah. Well, the text pretty much speaks for itself here. So, yeah, Garneth essentially brainwashed her, into, what she basically became. So, yeah, she used to be a normal nice person until Garneth essentially did to her what he did to Hardin. Which I find kind of interesting. So, one thing that I think was kind of interesting here, that some people have actually commented on when I first translated this scene for people, is that Garneth, of all people, actually gets character development in this game. And yeah, he leaves Aramia to die screaming in pain and despair. Yeah, this guy is pretty despicable. But anyway, something I'd like to keep going on about this because it's interesting. People said that for some reason, yeah, even Garneth of all people got character development in the remake. Essentially, his modus operandi is finally fully established. What Garneth does is, he takes someone's most powerful emotions and exaggerates them to the point where they absolutely define them. With Hardin, it was his despair at his unrequited love for Nina, and he twisted it to the point where it drove him insane. For Aramia, it was the love for her orphans and the grief she felt when they were all killed in the fire. Not only did he essentially, exaggerate her grief to the point where she basically went insane, but he also exaggerated her motherly nature to the point where she became what you see in this game, an insanely creepy matriarchal figure who trains young children to be brutal killers while still essentially just acting like, yeah, treating them like young kids, even into their adulthood. And for Mishalis, he didn't brainwash him, but he certainly manipulated his ambition to the point where he killed his father and took the throne. So, yeah, this is basically what Garnet does. He also tried to do the same thing to Elrond, but fortunately Wendell ensured that he was deceived him. So yeah, I find this kind of interesting. What Garnet sort of does is, yeah, he plays on people's emotions, and he manipulates them through that. The irony here is, the Dark Sphere itself is implied to have actually done this to him. It's implied that Garnet was originally probably not all that nice, but he was a pretty normal person, up until he took the Dark Sphere. Then his jealousy of Miola for being chosen as Goto's successor, basically the Dark Sphere took that emotion and twisted it to the point where it totally defined him, and when he killed Miola and basically slowly devolved into the cackling maniacal villain he is now. In fact, at this point, his character's even been exaggerated since Shadow Dragon. Back then, at least, he somewhat had a plan, and at least he kind of wanted to overthrow Medius and take over the world afterwards. Now, he's basically just become a generic omnicidal kill everything guy, which is kind of interesting. So, this seems to be what happens when you hold the Dark Sphere for too long, and again, he did this to Harden, he presumably did this to Eremia, he sort of did it to Mishalis, but without any magic, and the irony is he actually had the same thing done to himself. So I find looking into Garnet's motivations and character kind of interesting, and that, yeah, I mean, don't think even the villains are exempt from character development. So yeah, that's basically all I want to say here, and I will see you next time, when we begin the real final series of chapters of the game. Until then, yep, I'll see you.